Hello, my name's Clive Paget and I'm Features Editor for Musical America. For our 2025 awards, we've chosen 5 outstanding artists, each of whom has made a unique contribution to their art form. In this interview, I'm speaking with Angel Blue, our 2025 Vocalist of the Year. Angel is as in demand at London's Royal Opera House as she is at the Metropolitan Opera in New York. Beauty pageants taught her all about competitions, but her first love was always opera. As she gravitates from roles like Mimi and Michaela to heavier repertoire like Tosca and Aida, it would appear that the sky's the limit for this golden-voiced soprano. Hi, Angel. It's a complete pleasure to speak with you today.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, Clive.
Can I start by congratulating you on being named Musical America's 2025 Vocalist of the Year?
Thank you so much. It's really an honor.
In your interviews with for our feature with Musical America, you spoke a lot about the importance of strong family support throughout your career. I was wondering, how did those family members or family support affect your musical upbringing?
Yes, well, my family has just been really everything to me when it comes to singing, because I grew up singing in church with my dad was a singer. He was a classical singer, but he was also a pastor. So I had the opportunity to sing in our church. And my mother played the violin and the piano. She also sang in the choir. So everyone was musically inclined growing up. And I am the only one in the family who decided to make a career out of it. So really what happened was, as I started singing more and more and showed the interest in having my singing be a career, my family just sort of upped their game. They stepped up and really started to support me. They've been supporting me my whole life. I went to an arts high school that was 2 hours away from where I lived. It's called the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts in Los Angeles, California. And I used to live in Apple Valley, California, which is about 2 hours from the school. So my family's been supporting me ever since then. And if I didn't have their support, I have to be honest, I don't know that I would be where I am right now. I have 3 older sisters and a younger brother, and of course my parents, and they've all done something to help me achieve my goals. And I'm very thankful to them for that.
Tell me, how has your voice developed over time, and how aware are you as a singer of how the voice is changing?
That's a great question. I want to say that I hear people talk about the voice, our voice is changing all of the time, but I don't know that I'm so much aware of my voice changing as it is I know me as a person. I'm changing. So I'm not the same at this age as I was 5 years ago, just even in the way I think, the way I handle different things, the way I handle being around people, different situations and such. I'm different. And I actually think for me, my answer to that is that I change. And as I change as a person, I think my voice goes along with that. My voice is very connected to my spirit. For me, it's all the same. So I find that as I'm changing and growing, I see my voice changing and growing also.
So how do you know, or how do you know that you're ready to sing a role like Aida, which is quite a hefty sing compared
Yes.
with say, Michaela in Carmen?
Yes. Well, Michaela and Carmen is quite short, but the challenge with Michaela is that she is backstage for nearly an hour before she comes back on. And Aida actually has a different, of course, a different set of challenges where she is singing throughout the night, but the hardest singing, in my opinion, for Aida is towards the end of the evening, because she has all these high floaty things that she has to sing, and sing them beautifully and soft. So I think what happens with the two of those, you named both of these roles, and these are two roles that I've recently sung almost back to back. And I think the biggest difference is just how one views their voice. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it's how we think about our voice. That's not to say that someone, of course, who sings Michaela cannot sing Aida, but I think it's just how one looks at how they sing. I don't know if I answered the question.
No, that makes complete sense. I'm curious, therefore, I mean, given that opera houses must be queuing up and offering you all sorts of roles, and you presumably have to make a decision about whether you're ready or not for it. I mean, have you ever had to say no to an offer of a part?
Yes, I have definitely said no. I was actually offered Aida when I was 26 years old, living in Spain. And I didn't know the opera so well. I knew the arias, and I knew the duet with Amneris from Act Two, but I didn't know the opera, and I didn't know the big, huge chorus scene that's at the end of Act Two. I wasn't familiar with it, so I remember speaking to my mentor at the time, and he said, "Oh, this is way too early for you," and I was upset because at the time I didn't have any work, so I wanted to. I was ready to say yes to everything, but I did say no, thankfully. I listened to him, and I did say no. And most recently, actually, I've been asked to sing things like, maybe that was about 2 years ago, I was asked to sing Ballo in Mascara. And I said no to that because I didn't feel it was right. For me, one of the ways that I know if something if a role is something that I can do at that time is I'll just listen to a recording. And usually I can feel myself respond to what I hear. And if I respond in a way where I think, oh, I can do that, I'll know almost instantaneously what it feels like to sing that music when I'm listening to it. And of course, sometimes I actually do have to go and grab a score and sit down at the piano and play it and try to sing it. And then I really know if I can sing it or not. But there's definitely been, I feel that I have an advantage when it comes to listening to music, because I'm almost always able to listen to something and say, okay, that is something I can do, or no, that's not something I should do.
You have a very close relationship with both the Metropolitan Opera in New York and with the Royal Opera House in Covent Garden in London. I'm curious as to whether organizations like that help you with your career, or help you make or sort of develop your career, or is your career pretty much left to you to manage?
So the way I see it is that my career has been entirely up to me from the beginning. I don't think I always knew that, but it's always up to me. And having a relationship with opera companies like the Metropolitan Opera and the Royal Opera House, are very important. And of course, it makes me personally, it makes me feel so thankful that I didn't give up on singing because I wanted to many years ago. But it's an honor to be affiliated with the Metropolitan Opera and to be affiliated with the Royal Opera House. Any company that has invited me to sing there, any country that's invited me to work there, I'm always honored. And I don't take it lightly because there are so many sopranos. You know, my dad used to say sopranos are a dime a dozen. So they're everywhere, you know. So I know that it's an important thing to have the relationships with these wonderful institutions. But I also know that my career singing, what I do, the most important puzzle piece is me. I have to be willing to do the work and willing to sing and willing to practice and all of that. So while it's great to have the relationships, really the career is up to the singer.
You mentioned mentor or a mentor when we were talking.
Yes.
I'm curious, over quite some time, who have been your mentors, and whose advice do you take today?
Yes, my biggest mentor will always be my dad. My dad, Sylvester Blue. He passed away this year. It will be 18 years. He will always be the person that I know that sounds strange because he's not here physically, but he left me with a lot of very good sayings and opinions and ideas. And the most important thing that my dad gave me was he introduced me to my faith. And my faith informs me on so much, on everything. So when you say mentor, I would say my dad. I sort of look at his career, even though it's a bit different than mine. I look at some of the decisions that he made, and I'm informed on what I should do, what I shouldn't do. Vocally, my mentors I have a lot of them actually. I've been mentored by Vladimir Chernov, by Cesar Uoa. I've been mentored by my old teachers at UCLA, the University of Redlands, and then coming into opera by people like Aprile Milno and goodness, Zubin Mehta and Maestro Placido Domingo. I've had so many people help to guide me in the different aspects of my journey where I've needed that specific guidance. I've had them be there for me, and thankfully I'm able to speak to all of them. The only one who's not here is my dad. When it comes to decision making, I really look strongly to my husband because he's a very wise man, and I probably don't always treat him like he's wise, but he's a very wise man. And he's very calm and collected. So I look to him when it comes to making, especially if I have to make a decision really quickly. I'll ask him, what do you think about this? And when you say mentor, my mind goes kind of everywhere because I do have a very good group of people whom I can ask when I need help for something. I hope I answered the question. I didn't go off too much.
No, you did. Not only was it very beautifully answered and really rather profound. I get a strong sense that you're well grounded in your life and well grounded in your career. Angel, can I congratulate you once again on being our 2025 Vocalist of the Year, and thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your interest in the 2025 Musical America Awards, and please feel free to check out our other interviews.